Hello and welcome to Sharon Local History. I picked about 10-15 pictures and I will just give you very brief narration of it. I kind of wanted to make you feel how Sharon looked like 110 years ago. Most of those pictures are from 1910, plus minus. So this is the view that you would see 110 years ago if you are coming to Sharon from Walpole. On the top part, that is basically skyline of Sharon, and the picture was taken from kind of upland. On the right side, you would have Moose Hill Parkway, which was actually called Crossmore at that point. Right in the middle of the picture, you can see the tall chimney. So that is the water pumping station. So this is the original train station. So the train tracks basically are dividing Depot Street and Upland, right? So we are the train tracks. The little tiny building on your right side is long gone. The one on the left is gone as well. That was the original train station. The train service came to Sharon just after finishing constructing the Canton Viaduct, so that was in 1835. The original train station was on the Providence side, so opposite side of where the train station is now. This is a view from Chestnut Street. Um, you can also see the pumping station far right and the tall chimney. So somewhere between those buildings will be the overpass. This is a fantastic picture of Sharon going down Depot Street and crossing the gates, right? The train tracks. However, this picture is before we have the new overpass that was built 1936. So this is pretty cool. This is again the gates from the other side, and you can probably see that they look a little different than the ones before. So this picture may be possibly older. So you are coming from Upland to Depot, right, past the train tracks. It's called Depot Street. The building on the left side is long gone, but right in the middle you can see a building that still stands on Depot Street. It was an old mill. And this picture is the new shining overpass. So you are coming from Upland and you are crossing the railroad tracks. On the left side, you can see the pumping station, right? So the bridge, the overpass rather, was built in 1936. So this is very poor quality photograph, but I only saw few pictures that are actually from the construction of the Sharon present train station, which was designed by F.J. Pitcher. It was built in 1936, same year as the overpass. The building was actually private at first, and then now it's owned by MBTA. Apparently, the station was often referred to as the most attractive railroad station on the main line. This is really cool photograph, and I will let you guess for a little tiny bit. So you are standing on the road that's very popular. On the left side you can see the granite posts for the fence. On the right side you can see strangely shaped building that we still have in town. And if you said you are in the center of town, you are right. So you are standing in the middle of the town, in the center of the town. You have Billings on your right, Depot on your left, and North Main Street in front of you. If you look closely on the bottom of the picture, you will see the tracks from the streetcars. They were popular in Sharon or active in Sharon from 1901 for 20 years. So this is the same building. You can, on the left side, see a little tiny bit of the Congregational Church. You can see the beautiful elm tree and the sign on it. So this is the building that we still have in the center of town. I believe it was officially or unofficially called Bentinelli Building. But what I want you to look at is on the right side of it, there is no building. So that's a little tiny gap. That's the building that was eventually added in. And on the next picture, you can see the building that's on the right side. It's called Dennett Block. I think it was built in 1905. And then eventually they put the building in between that we have now. So here's one more view of the post office square. Basically, you turn a little bit to the right from the last picture, right? So the Dennett building is on the left side, and you can see the little tiny white picket fence. So the street in the middle is Billings, and to the right, between the buildings, is Pond Street. So you are walking from Post Office Square on North Main Street, and on the right side you can see Congregational Church. So the first Congregational Church was actually called the Christian Society in Sharon. In 1821, there were 11 people who left the parish across. That was the meeting house where Unitarian Church is now, and they formed their new church. The land was purchased and the new structure was built. And then in 1838 it burned down, and in 1839 they built this new one. In 1915 the church reorganized by incorporating under the name of the First Congregational Church of Sharon. Its bell was purchased in 1833, and it has the inscription Revere Boston on it. Carriage sheds remained for a while until just after the war. And that's about it. But I really wanted to show you these cool pictures. And actually in this picture right now on the left side, you can see the old school that is now going to be very soon the new library. So the school street was called Center School actually, and it was built 1892. It had originally 2 floors, and then in 1920s the second floor was removed, and you probably saw a picture of the building looking much shorter. So some of you may recognize this building that used to be on the corner of South Main Street and Chestnut, so 90 South Main Street. And it went through many changes. This was actually the beautiful old town hall that was built in 1883, and it was definitely impressive, stately building for its time. There was actually police department and jail, town offices, and there was amazing staircase in the middle, circular staircase that led to the auditorium, and many different musical programs and plays were performed, as well as many meetings. The town hall served for over 80 years, and in 1964 it was demolished and a new building was put up. And now we have a third town hall that was built in 2019. Well, this picture, it's hard to say exactly where it is, but it was labeled as Massapequa Avenue. As you can see, it was a dirt road, and you can see the lady on the right side in a beautiful dress, and our guess is that it is somewhere past, going up Massapequa Avenue towards the center of town, somewhere past Capon Hill, probably where the Butter Lane is. Lake is on the left side. This is a really neat image. Imagine you're on North Main Street and you're turning left on Canton Street. So that's 260 North Main Street, and it was for longest time called the Sharon Box Company. The building is on Sawmill Pond. It has got long history. It originally in 1856, 2 brothers, Billings again, built a dam and grist and sawmill, and then Sharon Box went through many changes, and there was the grist mill and sawmill was turned into box factory for lumber, and eventually the company was called Barney and Curry Lumber, and in 2017 it was turned into modern residential units. This is a location somewhere on North Main Street. I have no idea where, the photograph wasn't described, but it is still a pretty cool image because on the left side you can see the trolley or the streetcar, and they were operating from 1901 to 1920s. By the way, I made a separate video on the topic. This is another very cool image. So imagine you are on Ames Street. Quincy Street is on your left, and in front of you is Ames as well. So the kind of the railing with the wood. That's where the stone kind of bridge is for Massapequa Brook. So the building on the left side, that is actually Hammershock Pond and its offices. So this incredible large building is the famous Sharon Sanatorium. And so imagine you are on upland and eventually you will turn right on Everett. The Sharon Sanatorium was built in 1890s, 1891, and it was built for treatment of tuberculosis. And because of that, and also help from a real estate agent that claimed that Sharon has got amazing air and water, that resulted in Sharon being known as the healthiest town in New England. And that led to an era that was called resort era, because many hotels and inns grew all over town, and Sharon became kind of popular tourist town. Many cottages as well on the lakeside grew. I just wanted to mention a little bit more about the sanatorium. So it opened in February 1891, and the Alfred Bowditch was the first president of the board of directors, and eventually Dr. Walter Griffin, that you will hear about a lot, became the resident director in 1901. This building is long gone. However, there are few other buildings left. The one is the Children's Sanatorium, and the stoned house with kind of two-bay garage, that was actually an X-ray building. Eventually, the children's section became a whaling museum. That also closed down, and most of the collection was moved to New Bedford, and now the building belongs to Trustees Archives. This photograph is simply labeled as Mountain Street. We don't know exactly the date, but I'm assuming it was same collection of photographs from early 1910, 1920. However, I would like to mention that one of the oldest houses in Sharon is located on 291 Mountain Street, probably close to this, where this picture was taken. And it was actually built in 1735, and it was built by Job Swift himself. Job Swift was our first selectman, and I like to say that he was Sharon's Paul Revere. Very cool image. So some of you may be familiar with this property because you saw pictures already. It used to stand at the Men's Pond on Billings Street, and it was very famous for cotton industry. So it was called Cotton Mill, or Men's Pond, Men's Mill. It was built in 1831 by George Mann, and first he started with cotton ticking, and eventually the first mill got destroyed. They built another one, then they built a third one. That one burned down in 2014. And so basically there were three different buildings. This is the biggest one. It was a huge operation and big deal on cotton industry for small town of Sharon. This little granite building was actually part of the men's cotton mill operation, and it used to be a dye house. If you actually hike on the little side trails under the dam, you will see foundation of this property right across the bridge. This amazing, stately house stands on intersection of East Street and Ames Street. It was constructed by H.A. Lorthop in 1848 from a local granite from Moyle's Quarry, to be exact, and that is the same quarry that the granite for Canton Viaduct came from. So Lothrop and John Ames of Northeastern owned and operated the knife workshop on Ames Street, and also the hammer shop that was part of the same operation. This property is pretty incredible, and unfortunately the land itself was chopped into a few different properties. It was just too much to handle and pay in taxes. And at some point it was actually school for kids and an inn. I believe there are 5 large bedrooms and 5 bathrooms. And I just threw this last picture in. This is actually Cobb's Corner. So if you are on North Main Street and you're almost at Cobb's Corner, and I think you can see trolley on the left side, and that little building behind it was basically kind of like a little station. All right, this is the end for today. I hope you enjoyed this, and feel free to subscribe to this channel and watch more videos. Thank you for watching Sharon Local History.